Hello! If we could get folks to gather in a little closer, just a touch towards us, especially from the amphitheater side. Sorry? Oh, I have no idea. But this is beautiful. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck you.
Okay, Adam said way too quiet.
Oh, okay. I think we'll blast them. If we need to turn it down, we'll turn it down. Oh, thank you. I've always wanted to. That works.
Okay.
Yeah, that works. And then Lucky will jump on. I'll hand it to him.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. So and I'll exit on this side.
Yeah. And did Lucky talk to you about helping people on and off?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
All right. This is a. I know. Right?
This is wild.
Suzanne is asking if we can get people even closer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll just do that. Okay. Hello, folks! If we could get you to come in just a touch closer. Woo! Thank you for being here! Woo!
Wow. I know. That's incredible.
That good? That volume good? I don't know. I guess for
I
us.
think it was better.
Yeah. Should we? What's the timing?
5:04. So
5:04.
I think
Okay.
whatever you want.
Okay. I guess this is it. Either way, yeah. Hello, everyone! Thank you for being here today! Woo! If you feel some magic in the air, that feeling is power! My name is Lucy, and I'm a 6th-year PhD student in HST.
My name's Kijana. I'm a 5th-year PhD student in material science.
And we are organizers with the MIT Graduate Student Union. The MIT GSU is a group of thousands of grad student workers across all of MIT working to build our collective voice through unionization. Any grad student can tell you that we are not just students. We are researchers, teachers, grant writers, event organizers. In short, we are also workers. And not only that, we are essential to making MIT a top-tier university. MIT works because we do, and that means that we not only need, but we deserve a real say in our working and learning conditions. That's why we're here today to talk about how a grad student union will give us that collective voice. And before I introduce our first speaker, I have one question. Are we ready to do this? I said, are we ready to do this? Our first speaker is Lucky, a PhD student in chemical engineering and a stellar, longtime organizer in the Grad Student Union. Please help me welcome Lucky to the stage.
What's up, MIT? Let's go! Wow. Damn. After 3 years, over 3 years of building and organizing, it feels so good to finally publicly announce we are the MIT Graduate Student Union. That's right. And that's abbreviated MIT GSU for short. I think you guys are going to be hearing that a lot from now on. So I thought right now would be the perfect time to test it out, all right? So what we're going to do, I'm going to say MIT, and I want y'all to say GSU, all right? MIT? GSU. MIT? GSU. MIT? GSU. All right, y'all. I love it. I love it. So for those of y'all who don't know me, my name is Lucky. I'm a fifth-year grad student here at MIT Chemical Engineering, and I've been organizing with the Grad Student Union for about 2.5 years now. And that's right, that's right. Let's keep the energy up. That's right. And in that time, I've seen it transform from a group of 20 people meeting every Friday night to an organization of over thousands of graduate workers who recognize that we need a union to fight for what matters to us. And not fight, but win. That's right. And that's what's really kept me motivated for all these years. The possibility of making real and lasting change. And now, here we are. I mean, look around you. Hundreds of graduate workers coming together, making this vision a reality. In taking our campaign to the next stage today, we follow an over 60-year movement at across over 70 universities across this country who have all realized and come together to form unions to advance their workplace and their lives. That's amazing, y'all. That is historic. We together are making history. Now, some of you in the crowd might be a little new to the idea of unionization and might be wondering what exactly is a union. I'm not going to get into the details too much, but a union basically is an organization of workers coming together to secure collective decision-making at their workplace. We as graduate workers have many issues in common, and we can more effectively fight for those issues if we do it together. That's right. And by using our collective power through our legally protected right to organize, we can win improved living, working, and learning conditions here at MIT. But that's right. Come on. But fundamentally, what this union means and represents is a shift in the power structure here at MIT away from the administration to us, the graduate workers. And today is really the start of us translating our collective power and strength into real democratic action. I think we all know where we want to get, but let me quickly outline how the next few weeks and months are going to look like. So now that our intent to unionize is public, the next stage that we're going to go through is going to be called the card campaign. Here what we do is we get as many of our graduate student workers as possible to sign on onto what we call union cards. Now these cards signal to MIT that we're interested in forming a graduate union. Now once we collect a supermajority of cards, which we will, that's right, which we will, we're gonna hold what's called an election. Now during that election, we're gonna need all of y'all to come out again and once again vote in support of forming a graduate student union. And then once we win an election, which we will, we can then again all collectively participate in electing a bargaining committee, which will then work with the MIT administration to negotiate the first ever contract here at MIT. That's right. That's right. We've come so far, but clearly we still have a little bit of work left to do. So what's really important is that we all continue to stay engaged and involved in every step of the process. Unionization can't just happen with a few of us. To quote my good friend Kijana, you only win what you're organized to take. And I love that quote so much, I'm going to say it one more time. You only win what you're organized to take. And that's why having all of y'all out here is so crucial and so important. And really, we really need as much support as we can get. Now, the reason we've been building and growing for over 3 years and all in an underground manner is because we expect a significant anti-union campaign from MIT. Yeah, all right. Just to be clear, an anti-union campaign is nothing personal. The fundamental concept of unionization is workers taking power from the employer. And anti-union campaigns happen at every institution where workers try to unionize. And we can look at these institutions for clues on how this anti-union campaign is going to shake out. Now, a really common framing that we see at these other institutions, and even in our previous campaigns here at MIT, is the administration framing us students as being unreasonable, aggressive, demanding for wanting some of these changes. And honestly, I think that's pretty ridiculous. I mean, is it unreasonable to want affordable housing or dental insurance? That's right, I'm asking you, is it unreasonable to want affordable housing or dental insurance? Is it unreasonable to want safe working conditions or to be treated with respect? Is it unreasonable for the people who teach the classes, do the research, and sometimes even write the grants to have a say in how things are run? No, hell no, it's not unreasonable. It's what we deserve. It's what we need to do the research that we came here to do. And that's the end goal. In reality, MIT has been preparing for this campaign for quite some time. They've hired a lawyer from one of the biggest anti-union firms in the country as their chief legal counsel. That's right. In 2016, following Columbia's attempts to unionize, they filed an amicus brief with 8 other universities opposing the right of graduate workers to come together and unionize. Even now, the OGE, the Office of Graduate Education, has published a misleading FAQ on their website intended to sow fear, doubt, and mistrust about unions. So yeah, the anti-union campaign is coming, and they're ready. But y'all, looking out here today, I can tell you without a doubt, if they are ready, then so are we. And let me quickly tell you a few reasons why. We've partnered with a national union, United Electrical Workers, or UE, who's given us the resources, guidance, and expertise that we've needed to get to this point, and that we'll need in the next stage of our campaign. That's right, give it up for UE, y'all. That's right. We've built a strong base of knowledgeable grad workers who know the facts of what it means to unionize. They're what we call our union representatives, the core group of over 260 graduate workers who have put in so much of their time to help build this organization. That's right. If you have any questions, you should refer to them. Every department will have several union representatives, and you can find yours online at mitgsu.org, which is now live. And finally, up to this point, we've already talked to nearly 2,500 of our graduate student workers, and the overwhelming majority of them are in support of our movement to unionize. And to make this democracy as representative and as powerful as possible, we're going to talk to every last grad student. We're going to empower every last grad worker at this campus, because that is the MIT GSU. We are the MIT GSU. So that's right. We've come a long way. We've still got a little bit of work left to do. But I'm so honored, proud, and excited to be taking this journey with you. Thank you all today, and let's get it done!
All right. Thank you, Lucky, for that crucial information about what we're building. No matter what top admin at MIT or anti-union lawyers may say, we know, everyone here knows, that grad students at MIT are more than ready to have a real voice at this university with a union. And actually, I like that first chant that Lucky did so much, I think we should do it again. So when I say MIT, y'all say GSU. MIT? GSU! MIT? GSU! One more time, MIT? GSU! Thank you. All right, so I'm about to introduce our next speaker, but before I do, since we have such a lovely, huge crowd here, I just want to encourage everyone, if you haven't checked into the rally with the RSVP form, please do so. You can pull it up on your phones now. It's tinyurl.com/MIT-GSU-launch. But without further ado, next up is Madeline, a PhD student in chemistry and a longtime student advocate and organizer, and former president of the Grad Student Council. Please welcome Madeline.
All right. Thanks. All right. Thanks, Kanjana. Thanks, Lucky. What's up, everyone? My name is Madeline Sutherland, and it was my honor to serve as your president of the Graduate Student Council last year, the pandemic year. Now, I worked with a phenomenal team of heroes on the GSC Executive Committee. But our experience shed painful light on the way the imbalance of power at MIT causes harm. We were not able to set boundaries. Our time was disrespected. We were constantly handed policy statements to review with as little as 2 hours of warning. We were given committee positions to fill on such short notice, we couldn't use our own democratic process. But above all, we were compelled to argue about things that should never be an argument. It fell to us to remind the administration that the Americans with Disabilities Act still applies in a pandemic, that they can't make COVID testing a de facto condition of employment and then have no accessibility plan. We had to argue. We had to argue that it's wrong to let researchers get coerced into working for no pay, that it's wrong to put grad workers under threat of eviction from grad housing when their programs forced them onto non-resident status. In fact, we had to invoke the city of Cambridge to show MIT Housing and Residential Services that they are not exempt from the state sanitary code, that they can't simply refuse to fix the heating systems in our residences, leaving grad workers and families with small children in intolerable heat or cold. Meanwhile, outbreaks caused by undergrad parties on other campuses were used to justify cutting off grad workers in grad housing from their significant others. We warned every office that we could access that this would lead to dire mental health consequences. And in fact, that's what happened. Now tell me, does this all sound like healthy engagement to you? That's right. Together with MIT COVID relief, we further had to argue that it's simply unreasonable. See, the wind agrees with me. It's simply unreasonable to expect grad workers to progress in their dissertation research without knowing whether they'd be funded the next year or even the next month. A pool of funding was created for COVID research delays in August of 2020. But you want to know when they advertised it publicly? It took till spring of 2021, when 2 surveys showed that most grad workers had no idea how to access these funds. It made me angry to see my colleagues getting the message that their work didn't matter, especially in the social sciences that happened, even while the world's deep social ills amplified the death and destruction caused by COVID-19. Now, if you read President Rife's exciting fast-forward plan, we're being asked to tackle climate change with our research. And we're being asked to equip MIT's amazing undergrad students to fight climate change in their careers. Tell me, who actually runs the experiments? We do! Who designs those experiments? We do! Who analyzes the data? We do! Who writes the papers? We do! Who does the bulk of the actual teaching around here? That's right, we do. And the Institute needs our leadership, our voices to progress, to take the next steps forward. In all of these dire situations, we GSC officers used every channel available to us. We drew on decades of built-up goodwill between the GSC and the administration. We lost sleep. I incurred the justified ire of my boss and coworkers for my absenteeism. And through all of that, I still kept seeing my colleagues across the Institute suffering needlessly. This is not a system that works for us. We deserve a mode of engagement in which the ground rules are fair and all grad students have a real voice. Now finally, to MIT administrators and leaders. The grad student body is made up of researchers, teachers, writers, and entrepreneurs. We came here to advance MIT's core mission with our discoveries and innovations. Contrary to the way grad advocates are often characterized, we are not here to disrupt or destroy MIT's vital mission. We are here to build a better version of MIT. Our forming a union does not need to signal the end of constructive dialogue, but the rules of the game must change. Grad workers at MIT are forming a union as a way of saying to our employer that there is a minimum standard of living and working conditions that must be met. We need income security. We need affordable health care, decent and affordable housing, support for families, and workplaces free from harassment and discrimination. These conditions must be met for us to be healthy human beings and to do the work of education, discovery, and innovation that drew us to MIT in the first place. Therefore, our motto is one simple truth. MIT works because we do. Now I'm going to go sign my union card.
Thank Thank you, Madeline, for laying out exactly why we cannot wait, we cannot afford to wait for MIT to choose to treat us with respect, and why we must come together and demand a seat at the table to determine our own working conditions. With that, I'm going to teach y'all our next chant for the evening. So you're going to repeat after me. Grad workers deserve a say. Every night and every day. Grad workers deserve a say. Every night and every day. All right, thank you. Our next speaker is Chelsea, a PhD student. Yeah. They're rightfully excited. Our next speaker is Chelsea, a PhD student in Aero-Astro and a prolific and impactful organizer with the Grad Student Union, the Black Grad Student Association, and the RISE campaign, among others. Please help me welcome Chelsea to the stage. Thank you. There you go.
All right. Thanks, folks. So, my name is Chelsea Anyador, and first off, I want to say I was so honored that folks valued my experience enough to ask me to speak with y'all today. So I'd like to take the opportunity to tell you a little bit about my roles at MIT and the realities of my MIT grad experience. So I'm a third-year PhD student in the Aero-Astro department. Shout out. I'm also a union organizer. I'm also a GRA, as well as the political action chair of the BGSA, the Black Graduate Student Association. I'm also affiliated with the Graduate Women in Aerospace Engineering, GWA. Aero-Afro, which is the Black students of the Aero-Astro department. GA-Cubed, which is the Graduate Association of Aero-Astro. And ACME, the Academy of Courageous Minority Engineers. I'm also a Black woman. And as a Black woman, I've been asked to, or really required to, perform a lot of labor throughout my life. And my experience at MIT has been no different. When I applied to MIT, I didn't expect that from the second I stepped on this campus, I'd be pushed to carry the burden of trying to make this space better for the historically marginalized, or URMs as MIT likes to call them. Doing this on top of trying to meet a high standard of academic excellence so as not to be seen as a racial stereotype. Honestly, I spent a lot of time wondering how much more I could achieve without that weight on my shoulders. Black people and other minorities on this campus and around the country are constantly being asked to fight many battles and carry many loads all at once. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of that labor being taken for granted. You know, I feel like I've done it all. In fact, I might even look familiar to you. You might have seen me around as part of many a diversity, equity, and inclusion committee, or a DEI committee, an institutional task force, a departmental working group, a community town hall, you name it. But most of those committees do the work of providing equity and justice in name only, if even that. Some of my amazing colleagues wrote an op-ed last year in the Tech about the MIT admin playbook. You know, their strategy, whether intentional or not, of tying up efforts for change in endless, meaningless conversations dedicated to platitudes about making space for varied perspectives and having difficult conversations and examining the nuances of the multifaceted, complex issues, whatever that means. Talking in circles until students ultimately lose the bandwidth to participate or simply graduate. These official committees usually ultimately end up recommending actions that a lot of times are simply performative or make marginal impact. On the flip side though, I've gotten to work on some very effective student advocacy initiatives with some phenomenal student advocates. Working with groups like Grads for a Healthy MIT, which is The group that's responsible for getting us the 52 covered therapy sessions a year we now have, as opposed to the 12 we had before. Yeah. I've also gotten to take part in student leadership efforts in my department with groups like Aero Afro, G-Way, GA Cubed, and the fantastic student leaders in my home department. Those leaders have been doing the work for years to improve the department environment for women, students of color, the LGBTQ community, and other marginalized groups. For example, in the last 4 years, the number of Black graduate students in my department has more than quadrupled. And that's due in no small part to the work done by grad students. And I'm proud to say that I belong to a department that has become a leader in advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion at MIT. So I want to particularly highlight the experiences I've had working with the amazingly courageous members of the Black Graduate Student Association, working on and promoting the Support Black Lives petition. A petition that went on to receive over 5,000 signatures. As a refresher, the Support Black Lives petition had 2 objectives: addressing the long-neglected DEI initiatives at MIT and reimagining public safety by rethinking the role of police on our campus. That petition was drafted in the summer of 2020. And if you will recall, the summer of 2020 was a difficult one, to say the least. In the midst of a global pandemic, isolated in our homes, with the future so uncertain, we watched the news coverage of the unfolding racial unrest in this country. And some of us even participated in the demonstrations following the brutal murders of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. I don't invoke those names lightly. Instead, I want you to take a second to go back to that place where we were in June 2020, when we held our breath as in real time we saw illuminated in front of our eyes just how the institutions around us benefit from white supremacy and the dehumanization of the marginalized. That summer highlighted how injustice occurs not when the system fails, but when it functions just as it was designed. The racism and classism and sexism and prejudice that results in the heinous murders of unarmed Black people is part of a larger system of white supremacy that leads to the exploitation of workers of all backgrounds. And MIT has certainly not been spared from its reach. So if you, like myself in the time since 2020, have been considering what we can do to combat racism and injustice in the world around us, this right here is how we do it. We start by challenging the racism and injustice in our own institution. While the protests of 2020 brought further into the light a great pain, that summer also exposed a great power. The collective power that comes when those oppressed and taken for granted say enough. The power we have when we stand together. We can use that very same collective power to create positive change at MIT, change we can be proud of. One of the many things I've learned working on the still ongoing efforts started by the Support Black Lives petition is that it's not actually all that radical to ask that we be treated with respect and dignity. But it does require that we do the uncomfortable thing and refuse to accept the oppressive status quo that exists all around us. We have the opportunity to confront injustice in our own MIT community right here, right now, by standing together as a grad student union. Those wins I talked about that came through the efforts of Grads for a Healthy MIT and the student organizations in my home department and the BGSA had one thing in common. They were grassroots efforts. They came from when students dared to come together to speak up for each other and to demand the treatment that we deserve. So today, I've given examples from my experience working mostly on diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, because that's the battle I've had to take on at this institution. Always a black woman before a scholar, a student, a worker, or a person. But there are so many other issues that matter to me and that I know matter to you as well. Imagine how successful we could be at our jobs if we weren't preoccupied, worried about things like affordable housing, protections from sexual harassment and gender discrimination, worker benefits like quality vision and dental insurance, fair treatment for GRAs, safe working conditions, job and funding security, international student protections. Right now, none of those things are guaranteed for us. You know, us, the grad students, who are the TAs, the open house organizers, the paper graders, the Europe mentors, the research producers, the people who keep the wheels turning. We deserve a system that will be accountable to the people who keep that system running. We can't keep doing what we've done before. The prolific writer, feminist, womanist, and civil rights activist Audre Lorde said it best when she said, "The master's tools will never dismantle the master's house." We cannot accept that sitting in endless committees and breaking our backs in student-led campaigns or simply accepting poor treatment is the way forward. What we need is a union. So here's the message I want to leave with y'all today. Right now, we serve at the pleasure of the MIT administration, an administration that benefits from keeping us siloed and divided. And while we've gotten some wins despite that, and those wins should certainly be celebrated, those changes are truly just a bare minimum, just incremental changes to a deeply flawed, unjust system. A system in which our dignity is left to the discretion of our employer. So with all that said, who's ready to change the system? Thank you.
You got it, thank you. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Chelsea, for that powerful, powerful speech laying out why we need a union to move forward. We all know that fighting discrimination, marginalization, racism, sexism, these should not be the jobs of any one of us or any small handful of us put on an institute committee. It's something that we all have to take on, and we can only take on if we come together through a grad student union. All right, I'm gonna lead us in another chant. This one goes, no excuse for grad abuse. So when I say no excuse, I want y'all to say for grad abuse. Ready? No excuse? For grad abuse. 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 Thank you. All right, next up is Rohan, a PhD student in EECS and a dedicated organizer with the Grad Student Union. Give it up for Rohan.
All right, hey everybody, I'm Rohan, and I'm a final year PhD student in EECS. Woo! Almost out. I'm incredibly excited and honored to be with all of you here today, building this union together. So I'm proud to be an MIT student, and I'm really passionate about the research that I do. I work over there in CSAIL with Leslie Kilbling and Tomas Lozano Perez, got some lab mates here somewhere. Woo! Yeah, I work on making robots smarter, and I came to MIT for a reason. It's probably the same reason as all of you here today. I came to contribute world-class research. I came to progress academically. I came to develop myself as a scientist, and I came to ultimately become a better citizen of the world. And I have to say, I've actually had a pretty good experience as a grad student at MIT, and maybe a lot of you have as well. My story for getting involved with the GSU started in February of this year when a friend told me about the initiative, and I was instantly hooked. So before MIT, I did my undergrad at Berkeley. Anyone? Couple? Not too many. I thought there would be more. Go Bears. So at Berkeley, I spent 3 years as an undergraduate TA, and this might be shocking. During those 3 years, I didn't have to pay a cent of tuition to Berkeley, and in addition, I got paid $25 an hour. So I know it's probably shocking because at every other institute I know of, undergrad TAs are barely paid minimum wage, if that. So you might be wondering, how is it possible that the benefits were so amazing? And it's because the Graduate Student TA Union at Berkeley had gone to the administration many years prior and said, look, if graduate students are getting their funding covered for TAing and undergraduates are doing the exact same work, they better get the exact same benefits. Equity and fairness matter. So my point with this story, and the message I want you all to take home today, is that even if you are someone for whom graduate school is going relatively well, there are things that you and I cannot even dream would be possible if we had a union. We cannot even dream of it. So I owe so much to Berkeley's Graduate Student Union, and that's why I wanted to be involved with building something like that here at MIT. So the MIT GSU is all of us graduate students coming together to ensure we have adequate and dignified conditions to do what we came here to do, which is world-class research and developing ourselves as scientists. It's difficult to carry out your research when you're worried about paying rent in Boston, one of the most expensive cities to live in the world. Just one person. So the MIT mission statement says that the goal of MIT is to advance knowledge and educate students in science, technology, and other areas of scholarship that will best serve the nation and the world in the 21st century. That's the mission statement. We agree. The MIT GSU is the response from MIT students to make that mission statement a reality. Because graduate students make MIT run, and so we should have a say in how MIT is run. We're the ones grading the papers, we're the ones ensuring classes run smoothly, we're the ones producing the world-class research that makes MIT have its name and its legacy. So this union, the GSU, is not just about getting higher stipends and better healthcare. We will take those things, but it's also about having a voice in our workplaces and a seat at the decision-making table as equals. So if you care about having a voice, if you care about having a healthy work environment, if you care about having vision and dental insurance and actually affordable MIT-sponsored housing, if you want to produce or continue producing world-class research, and most importantly, if you want to see kinds of things that we can't even imagine being possible right now, like getting your entire tuition covered as an undergrad at Berkeley, or at NYU getting a 30% hourly wage increase. Shout out NYU. Then I urge you all, please sign a union card. Let's make it happen. Let's join this collective effort to make MIT a better place for everybody to work and study and live.
Thank you, Rohan, for showing us a vision of what we can win by standing together. As this first step of solidarity of fighting for both the rights of your coworkers and the rights of yourself, so we can stand in solidarity with the other unionized employees on this campus, this is the perfect time to go to mitgsu.org and sign your electronic union card. We also have card collectors in the crowd if you'd prefer a physical one. We're going to take about 3 minutes to allow people to sign cards if they haven't already today. Sign your card, help your friends sign their cards. mitgsu.org. We'll take 3 minutes, and if you've already done your card signing, if you're pumped to do this, text a few people who aren't here. Tell them to sign their cards. Music? Music? Yeah. All right, we'll resume in 3 minutes. Feel like I should, trying to think of what to say, yeah. Yeah. Text your friends to sign their cards. We still have one more speaker after this. Thank you. All right, thank you for signing your union cards. An extra special thank you to those of you reaching out to your other coworkers who couldn't be here today. We want to make this card campaign as fast as possible. We want to get a card from every grad worker. All right, we've got a more complex chant for this one, so it's going to be a little call and response. So my question to you is, what do we tell the corporation? And your response is no grad student exploitation. So what do we tell the corporation? All right. And what do we say to President Reif? And your response is, we deserve a decent life. So what do we say to President Reif? What do we tell the corporation? What do we say to President Reif? What do we tell the corporation? What do we say to President Reif? All right, thank you. And our final speaker today is Brandon, a PhD candidate in Latin American and Caribbean history at Harvard and the president of the Harvard Grad Student Union. Welcome, Brandon.
So I have a little bit of a sad story. When I first got here, one of your friendly organizers came up to me and wanted to have me sign a card. I had to unfortunately tell her that I already signed a card 2 stops down on the Red Line in Harvard Square with the Harvard Graduate Students Union. So I am here not to sign a card, but to express my solidarity from 4,500 student workers at Harvard University with your struggle. So at HGSU, we are teaching assistants, we are lab workers, we are research assistants, we are thesis advisors, we are undergraduate course assistants. You name it, we do it. We make that university run, and that's why we have a union that's fighting for fair pay, for increased health benefits, for a fair procedure for survivors of harassment and discrimination, all things that Harvard does not want to give us. And I say shame to that. I want to tell you a little bit about our story, how we got to this point, and hopefully it's something you can take going forward. The biggest lesson that I think we've learned as organizers at HGSU is that there is no such thing as the union, T-H-E, union. You are the union. We are the union. The UE is great. The UAW is great. We're proud members of those big unions. But that's not the union. The union is all of you standing together, collectively struggling for your rights, for your benefits, for your pay, and for your living conditions and working conditions. That is it. This is really important to remember, because if they haven't already, especially now that you're signing cards and joining as members of this union, you're going to start getting a bunch of propaganda, a bunch of emails, a bunch of messaging from all these administrators claiming that there's some outside agency here that is trying to divide workers, that is trying to impose new standards, it's trying to impose its ideas on you, it's trying to change MIT for the worse. What is that? That's all of you. That's all of you asking for things that you deserve, that you need, and that you want right now. There is no outside agency with its own agenda, with its own plans for you. It's all of you who have come together to demand that MIT respect you and give you the dignity that you deserve. Actually, let me rephrase that. You are all claiming the dignity that you deserve. So as you start talking to your coworkers, as you start talking to your friends and your colleagues who have questions about what it means to belong to a union, just really emphasize that. Really show, really show what it means to be part of a union by just showing to each other what solidarity means with one another. There are no union issues. Yes, we all want better pay, we all want all these things, but those are things that directly are direct reflections of what you're asking for, what you need in your lives right now. The issues that you're going to develop in your campaign are your issues. They're not the UE's issues, they're not anyone else's issues, they're yours. And as your campaign progresses, and you start trying to elect the bargaining committee, and you start going to the table, and you start drafting proposals for things in order to win the contract that student workers have been asking for on this campus for years, they're going to start just really poking back at you. They've already hired outside lawyers, apparently. They're already going to do all in their power to try to deflect, to try to drag you out. They're going to try everything they can. They don't have to. They could voluntarily recognize you as of today, and we would be done with this, and we would be building a union for all, and just get to the work of negotiating and reaching an agreement with them. They're probably not going to do that. I am so sorry to tell you. So, basically, what I want to leave you with right now is that one of the biggest surprises to me, I think, as we went on strike in 2019, was that we had a lot of pushback, I guess, in the media, in conversations with some faculty were not supportive or kind of confused, or other folks who were kind of like, let's call them professionals or middle class folks, who like didn't understand how so-called privileged students at such an elite institution could be demanding unionization. But you know who never questioned this? The campus workers, the custodians, the dining hall staff, the clerical workers, the librarians, contingent faculty, adjuncts. Never once did they question, why do these grad students want dental? Why do these grad students not trust the Title IX process when left in the hands of these administrators? Why don't they get paid a ton? Doesn't Harvard have a ton of money? A lot of these things are really easy to answer. We don't have those things. We don't have adequate health insurance. We don't trust the university to actually go after abusers and predators and create a safe environment for all of us. It's gonna take us standing together and actually winning these things and claiming these things for each other. And that's what you gotta tell them. That's what you gotta tell the administration, that you're not here to play around, you're not here to compromise, you're here standing together as a community and as a union, and you're gonna win. So we'll be here when you need us. We're two stops down on the red line. Come out to support us if we go on strike again. It's a big if, but it's possible. So we'll have those picket lines set up if we go on strike. And I hope we can have some kind of party or rally in about a year when we all have the contracts that we need. All right, solidarity, y'all.
All right, thank you, Brandon, so much. We will definitely be at the picket lines when you need us, if you need us. Thank you again for sharing your invaluable experience as a unionized grad worker. Your hard work and dedication, and the hard work and dedication of all grad workers at Harvard, is proof that we deserve a union and that we can win one if we fight for it. And thanks to all our amazing speakers for sharing why we need a grad union here at MIT. I think all of us here have something that we want changed about the grad school experience. And if we want to see this change happen here at MIT, we need to come together to make it happen. We can't just wait around for more powerless working groups or more empty rhetoric while grad student workers face needless barriers every day, needless challenges every day to pursuing MIT's purported research and educational missions. We need to take that into our own hands by unionizing. So we're going to close our program today with one final chant. When I say union, you say power. Union, power. Union, power. Union, power. Union. Power. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. If you have any questions, find an organizer in a red shirt like this one, sign a union card, ask your coworkers to sign a union card. We are so looking forward to building this with all of you together. Thank you.